Welcome, guys, to Deeper Into the Dark,
where two friends descend into true crime,
the paranormal,
and all things
strange.
Deeper Into the Dark.
I'm Christina.
And I'm Stephen. And we want to say we're super sorry. We may have taken a sabbatical that we did not warn you about, but we kind of fell into a bit of not wanting to do this.
I was like, how would we say it? Our motivation was low.
Yes, very much. I have to say I was a bit under the weather. We've been under like a little southern drawl just lately.
Just a little.
We might put in some clips at the end of this video, so just be prepared. You might hear some of our rants of what we do in order to get the film flowing, just get the roots growing, to get the film recording. You know, just here and there.
A little bit.
Well, how have you guys been? Thank you so much for joining us. And if you're not doing well, I hope you do better, because you need to do better. And if you're doing great, you need to chill, because calm down, girl.
What they meant to say was...
I will have you know I am a woman.
And now it's you and Shalissa, because that was Shalissa right there.
You need to do better.
You need to do better. Damn fucking Shalissa. So, if you aren't doing well, it's okay, because not everybody has great days. And if you're doing great, keep on going.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
I had a Tina Turner song stuck in my head in that moment. I don't know why. Sorry for the pause.
Keep the rolling?
Yeah, exactly. How did it go? The wheels keep on turning or some shit like that.
Strawberry, keep on rolling.
Rolling on, rolling on. Okay, why do you guys watch us? They're like, we don't.
No. We don't. That's why you don't have any subscribers. Just kidding. We have a few that you did those.
To those who do subscribe and who come back and listen, we love you guys so much. Y'all are the bomb. Y'all are the bomb.com. We just really don't know how to promote ourselves.
No, we don't have that kind of money.
We don't have that money, and also we just don't have that kind of online presence, unfortunately. I keep telling Barbara Jean we need to get on it, but Barbara Jean keeps saying, with what? Well,
what you been up to?
Well, working.
9 to 5?
Working 9 to 5. It ain't way to make a living. I could wake up in the morning, I put the coffee on and let it percolate. I'll get my little...
Cup of formation.
I'll let my nipples get stimulate. And I could just walk out the door saying, you know what? Today's going to be the day, because Jesus is there for me. He's always been there. Mm-hmm. Jesus always be flashing me all the time with his big flashlight. And
that's Jesus.
Oh. Shit. Who's you talking about?
I was talking about our Lord and Savior Christ.
Oh, ain't nobody driving your Chrysler. Back up, Barbara Jean. Okay. Well, yeah, just working, doing my thing. I've been trying to save up my PTO so I can take a nice little vacation for myself. But if I do the funds in my head correctly, it ain't happening.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm the opposite. My boss wants me to take off because I have too much PTO. And even the ones I need for the end of this year for Sam's birth, to have off like 2 weeks, I still have a whole bunch she wants me to use throughout the year. So what I ended up doing was each month I took off one random day. Except for this month, it was not random. I took off the Friday before my birthday, so.
Oh my gosh. How have you been?
I'm doing okay. I started this like fasting diet that's literally controlling my whole life right now. But it is, like, at the first few days it wasn't helping, and now it kind of is. Like, I'm seeing myself with a little bit more energy, not snacking as much, because before I was like, snack. And this one I'm like, no, I gotta beat this goal. Which it's helpful for me because I am that person who likes to like try to achieve my goals. So it helps me like set a time limit. So
what do you call it? Interdimensional fasting?
Intermediate fasting.
There you go.
And it's with that. It's an app I've never really heard of before, called Simple Plan or something like that, which is funny because it sounds like the band. No.
Oh.
The band, Simple Plan.
Oh.
Which OnlyFans were you on? But also it does sound like a ranking membership. But yeah, it's been good.
Isn't that a band too? Simple Plan?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, that...
Yeah.
Did you say band? I heard
band.
It sounds like one of those... I don't know. I heard something else. I didn't hear... Like, my brain didn't connect the words.
Oh.
Sorry. A little out of it. I've been trying to get these lights.
Yes. It took like an hour to adjust these lights.
Anywhoosers, we're here. We're queer. And we're not going anywhere.
You're so silly.
I got that from Adore Delano.
I know. I was saying, I know it was one of your drag queens.
Oh, we've been playing D&D more.
But we had a good one. We didn't have any fights. It was more character development. And it was surprisingly nice to just...
It was pleasant just to, like, explore the characters a little more and how they react.
And these Tawatlis that fucking Greg, he's our DM, was throwing in made me uber upset.
Made my pussy dry.
We both were like, we hate you.
You... You.
Laker.
You pickle me kumquat. Or pickle you kumquat.
I fucking love that commercial. Alright, anyways.
Age is showing.
I know. It's okay.
Anyways, we're
fabulous for our age.
We're fabulous. I might be a little low in energy because I just ate food, so I'm feeling a little sleep. So Colin is like, you just see her in the distance. And I'm like,
it's more like, meow, 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 meow.
It's more like, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder when you're gonna fart.
Oh my gosh.
Up above the toilet so high. Cause you have a weird spine problem. I don't know. My bad. Okay.
Well, let's get into it then.
Yes. Let's get started.
We're gonna start with moi, which, if you don't know what that means, it's, I think, French for me. I don't know.
We say it so much, I literally forgot for a quick second. I'm like, is that French? Moi?
I think it
Oui!
Oui! It is.
Okay, Old English tis.
Tis correct. For episode 5, I wanted to, Cinco
de Mayo, or Cinco de Agosto. Happy birthday, Mother. Happy birthday, Mother.
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday, Mama. It's my
Happy
mom's birthday today. It's Sunday, August 10th. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. You remember that video original? What do you mean? I'm just an ordinary woman who wants diamonds in her life. Okay.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mama.
All right.
She said she's only turning 37.
Oh. She's still older than me, unfortunately. So I have to be kind to her. Gotta support your elders. Respect your elders. Like I respect you.
Listen here, little girl. You keep talking that shit, I'm gonna have to bust you upside your head.
No!
Okay.
So, I know June is the, quote, designated Pride Month, which we missed. But I say Pride is every year, 24/7, 365. So today I wanted to talk about a hate crime based on a person's sexuality. This story was brought to me by Stephen. I had no idea about this case, which I am kind of sad that I didn't.
I will also like to interject that this case was suggested to us by one of our beautiful listeners.
Oh.
Yes, it was by Mario.
Mario.
It was by Mario, our wonderful fan. Mario, he listens to every episode. He watches every video. And Mario, we love you. We adore you. And
I gotta throw in one of these.
I will eat your ass.
I also will.
And I will gobble all the gravy coming out of your
we also have not had dessert today, so just keep that in mind.
We could use some cake, Mario. So.
Alright, so thank you, Mario. Well, I hope I do this story justice for you.
Sorry it's late, but better late than never.
I want to start off with a trigger warning. We are going into graphic assault talk today. So, did you hear that? That was my stomach.
You gotta poop?
No, I had a fart and I held it in.
Just fart, girl.
No! You cannot get
the little legs.
No! I had chicken plantas, so good weekend.
I had chicken plantas and fajita beef bowl, so I'm about to blow it up.
And I was dipping it in nacho cheese, so
queso for your butthole. Ooh. Okay.
Oh my god. Alright, so hate crime. If you don't know what that is, it's a crime involving violence that is motivated by prejudice on the basis of ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or similar grounds. In this case today, it's based on sexual orientation. So Matthew Wayne Shepard was born December 1st, 1979 in Casper, Wyoming. He was born to Judy and Dennis Shepard. They also knew Matt was a little different. And the day that Matt came out to his mom, it was first year of college. And she was pretty much like, I already knew. I love you.
She's like, that's it?
She's just like, that's all you want to tell me? I already knew that, son. But it was really cute because when I was listening to her speech about it, yeah, she was like, all through high school was like leaving hints that, hey, you could talk to us about it, to the point where they were putting out like men magazines, but not porn, but like men swimwear magazines and stuff like that, to say like, we know. So anyways, when she was talking about it, I was like, that's cute. Aww. And you have to remember, like, this was back in the day.
Yeah.
So, go mom.
90s, right?
Yeah, the early 90s. So Matt, now in this story point, he's a 21-year-old student at the University of Wyoming, and I hope I said this right because the guy I was listening to saying it, he's Australian. Laramie in Wyoming, because it's the University of Wyoming. And he spent October 6, 1998 at a meeting of the school's LGBTQ student group planning coming events for the LGBTQ Awareness Week. Matthew was an openly gay man at his campus for a couple of years now at this point. After he left this meeting, he headed to a bar in town called the Fireside. Matt was sitting alone at the bar, drinking a beer, when he was approached by Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson. These boys were at the bar with their girlfriends, regular patrons, all four of them, of the Fireside bar. They struck up a conversation with Matt and seemed to get along great, by all accounts there, by other people.
How old is he?
21.
Oh, okay.
So, drinking age.
Oh, okay. I was like, he's in high school going to bars? What?
Oh, no. I said at this point in the story, he's a 21-year-old student at the University of Wyoming. So he's a college student.
Sorry.
He's in college. And he's been openly gay in his campus for 2 years. Okay. So he's a college sophomore.
In college?
Yeah. In college. Sophomore, close to junior.
Can't relate. Never went.
I did, but not that kind of college. So, Aaron stated when he and Russell went to the bathroom, they decided that they would pretend to be gay and try to get Matt alone to rob him. Because Matt was pretty decent, dapper looking guy. He had good clothes on. They probably were like, rich kid.
But in reality, he's just like, no, it's basic hygiene.
Yeah, I know how to take care of myself. So the two then went back ordering drinks, and they began to get Matt drunk. They then offered him a ride home. For story purposes, I have no idea where the girlfriends went, and even if they stayed for this whole encounter, so I have no clue where they went. I don't know if they left and then the boys went and talked to Matt.
Literally, you said he was at the bar sitting alone.
Matt was sitting alone, and then he was approached by these two boys.
Mm-hmm. So
but these two boys were with their girlfriends.
Like... Yeah. Oh, their girlfriends.
Yeah.
I thought you meant I forgot. You said he went alone.
So the guy that was, which I'll put my sources at the end, but
he probably told him to leave.
No, I'm sure that they were there for a while, and the girlfriends were like, okay, we're gonna go to bed, so we're gonna go, and then they were bored and were like, let's fuck with this guy. That's what I'm thinking it was.
How do we know they weren't part of it? This whole ordeal.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways.
Just at the beginning, all I remember is that they were with their boyfriends, and then they're nowhere mentioned in the story again.
Ever again.
So Aaron and Russell get Matt into their car, and what started as a robbery ended up being the day that changed the LGBTQ community forever. When questioned, Aaron and Russell explained they planned on taking Matt to a remote location so they wouldn't have any witnesses. It was then that they stated Matt had made an advance on Aaron and put his hand on Aaron's thigh, which he did only because they flirted with him all night on purpose. This, though, was the only excuse that they needed. Aaron, on one hand, wanted a reason to do what he really wanted to do, which was hurt him really badly. The reason, you may ask, because he was gay. The boys' attitude changed towards Matt when Matt touched Aaron's leg and asked them if they were near where they lived. So Matt just was like, hey, are we near where you guys live? Still in the flirtatious mood.
I bet he even barely touched it. He's probably like, so, hey, are we close? Something like that. I doubt it was even, hey, are we close? I bet he was just like, hey, are we close?
Yeah, to get his attention. Because
he was probably
music
or ignoring him just because he was just in that certain regard. Anyway, sorry.
We don't really know. It's really just what they say, or said. So Aaron told Matt he was like, surprise, we aren't gay. And then they told him, we're going to fuck you up. While he said this to Matt, he drew his gun and pointed at Matt's head, demanding his wallet. Once they took all his money, they demanded to know his address so that they could rob his house. Matt did not fight, and he did as they said. Once the car was parked, they walked Matt over to a fence, and Aaron started beating Matt with his pistol. Now, I looked up a picture of this fence, this area. I was thinking it was chain link. It wasn't. It's one of those country-made fences. Like
a wood post and barbed wire.
No. It was like...
No, not barbed wire?
No, it was two woods like this with a wood across.
Oh.
So it was like this. I guess just to keep an animal inside or something, but a big animal, like a cow or something. I don't know. It was farmland looking. Okay. So once they parked, they walked Matt over to the fence I described. Aaron started beating Matt with his pistol. Russell watched as Aaron hit Matt over 21 times, seeing the blood run down his face, onto the gun, and on Aaron's hand. Matt then lost consciousness, and Aaron demanded Russell tie Matt to the fence. They took his shoes in case he did get free, he couldn't walk home. They then got back into the car and left Matt alone, tied to the fence in the cold night. Authorities concluded Matt was outside bleeding for 18 hours before he was found.
So this is a road nobody really uses, right?
No, it's one of those country
backwards
roads with all the twists and stuff that barely anybody goes on. The next morning, October 7th, 1998, Aaron Criffles on his bicycle riding down When he fell off his bike, he stood up, brushing himself off. This is a different Aaron. This is just a random guy. So this is Aaron K, and the other one is Aaron M.
Okay.
The assault guy is Aaron M. This is Aaron K. This is just the guy that was driving by the next morning on his bicycle. He brushed himself off and he noticed what looked like a scarecrow on a fence. At first he didn't think much of it until he noticed that the face was dripping red, so he rushed towards it. His heart sank as he found a young man tied to the fence by his wrist, barely breathing, but still alive. Blood on his face and part of his shirt. So Aaron K. called the police, and when they arrived, they got Matt down and onto a stretcher. They confirmed he was still alive and added a neck brace to him. The police didn't find anything on him. His pockets were turned out, but his wallet was on the ground with his ID, which was confirming he is Matthew Shepard. Matthew was then rushed to the hospital, where they found he had fractures to the back of his head and right ear area, numerous lacerations to his face and on his brainstem. Matt was in a coma before he even reached the hospital, and he was crashing fast. They found out that his brainstem was too injured for surgery, and it was already affecting his functions of his body to help him survive. His breathing, his heart rate, and his body temperature, the main things you need to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
His family flew in to see him. At this point, the parents were living in Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
Because they moved there at one point, but Matt moved back to go to college in Wyoming because that's where he was born. He was so badly beaten that his parents couldn't even recognize him. Matt held on for 6 more days before his parents decided to pull the plug and end their son's pain on October 12, 1998 at 12:53 a.m. When the news came out of what happened to Matt, supporters came from all over. When Matt was announced deceased, the nation mourned. People in the LGBT community and outside the community wanted answers and justice to what had happened to Matt. Even the New York's posted in the article the day after his death titled, "Murder for Who He Was." On October 16, 1998, Matt's body was laid to rest, even when the family couldn't mourn their loss because of the Westboro Baptist Church screaming hatred during his funeral. Which I honestly did not know much about them, and this story made me look up who they are, and these are the worst humans alive. Worst organization. I thought Scientology was bad. They kind of got that kicked up. They're one more layer.
Yeah, Westboro took that shit to the next level. They're fucking... You want to say degenerates? Those are them. They are degenerate. They are disgusting. They are a group that deserves to be wiped from this earth.
As of for today, though, Matt is now located at the Washington National Cathedral, which is a burial site for several notable individuals, including people like Helen Keller and President Woodrow Wilson. He was moved there in 2018. And I just wanted to share a side note that I went to Washington, D.C. area because I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. But I went July 2017, so I didn't get to see any of that. Plus, I didn't really know the whole story until Stephen told me, so I wouldn't have known what was happening even if I was there to see it a year later. So the police were looking for these 2 horrible men, and they started gathering evidence to bring them in, but it did not take long. The night the boys didn't even, the night of the assault that they didn't even go to Matt's house, even though they had his keys, because that was one of the things they took from him, because they were going to go rob his house. Instead, they spotted a couple of Hispanic teenagers walking downtown, so Aaron and Russell pulled over to talk, quote, to them, which of course ended with them fighting and assaulting them. Aaron hit one of the kids in the face with his pistol, and the other teenager ended up hitting Aaron in the head with a big stick. Someone nearby called the police, and when they heard the sirens, they fled running from the scene, thus leaving their car behind for the police to find. So, according to the story that I read, The truck contained Matt's credit cards, his shoes that they took off of him, and the pistol with Matt's blood all over it. Now, when I was doing research on this, I was confused because the guy that I got the story from, he said that he hit one of the Hispanic teenagers with his pistol. So I don't know if there was 2 pistols, if they went back to the truck and threw the pistol and kept running.
Sounds kind of conflicting.
Yeah, so I was just like, I'm just going to imagine that they thought they could get away faster on foot and hide better, so they hit the gun in the truck thinking they can come back and get it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it was in the truck. I'm not too sure. So the boys ran home and they told their girlfriends everything. You would think they would have called the police and turned them in, but no. They supported them and agreed that what they did was right. They said Matt should never have fallen for the deception and flirted with him.
You're in a fucking gay bar, right?
No, it was a regular bar.
Oh, marketing.
Yeah. Aaron's girlfriend.
That's just something you do? No. You don't deceive people like that. Fucking assholes. You shouldn't have, what is it? It's like, you shouldn't have had a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Like, what? No.
That's not how that works. So, Aaron's girlfriend ended up admitting him to the hospital for the injury on his head. He had a hairline fracture to his skull. Irony is, Aaron was kept overnight in the hospital for observation just down the hall from Matt while he was fighting for his life. They're on the same floor.
Wow.
Yep. The girlfriend ended up taking Aaron's clothes and shoes from that night, and she drove across town to dispose of them at the items to her mother's storage shed. Why she didn't burn them, I don't know. She went and stored them in her mom's storage shed.
Stupid bitch.
Again, it did not take long for the police to catch and arrest Aaron and Russell. The 2 were arrested for attempted murder, kidnapping, and aggravated robbery. When Matthew sadly ended up passing, the attempted murder charge turned to first-degree murder. During the trial, of course, Westboro Baptist Church was there protesting as well throughout the entire trial outside. One of Matt's friends, Roman Patterson, who was and still to this day is an LGBT rights activist, she ended up organizing a group to dress as angels with white robes and wings to block the Westboro Baptist Church from Matt's parents, so they wouldn't be disturbed every time they went into court. And also his funeral. They also were yelling during his funeral. One of the girlfriends, Chastity Paisley, in December 1998, she pled guilty to being associated with the first-degree murder of her crime after the fact of covering it up. So Chastity was Aaron's girlfriend that went and hid his clothes in the mom's shed.
Mm.
On April 5th, 1999, Russell, he pled guilty and said that he would testify against Aaron as long as the death penalty was off the table. The judge agreed and sentenced him to 2 life terms. Aaron's girlfriend also pled guilty. Russell's girlfriend also pled guilty, and she and Chastity chose to testify against Aaron for his trial, so they didn't get the death penalty.
Oh, so when their life is online, they're okay with going against their friends and having somewhat of morals to be like, yeah. Or would you even say they have morals? Or they're willing to cheat out their friends? But when it's someone else's life, like a gay person, they're willing to be like, no, you shouldn't have been deceived. Oh, you shouldn't have been deceived and killed someone. Maybe it's okay. You can take the death penalty. It's fine. Fuckers.
Well, during Aaron's trial, Aaron tried to use the gay panic defense, but the judge himself shot that down real quick. The death penalty was on the table, and it looked like that's what they were headed to, until Judy and Dennis Shepard asked for the death penalty to be taken off the table. So Matt's parents said no. They saw justice for their son was made, but there was no need for more death. Aaron McKinney got the same sentence of 2 life sentences. They both remain in prison to this day. As for Matt's parents, Judy and Dennis Shepard, they continue to be an avid voice for the LGBTQ plus community. They just wanted to make sure Matt's name will live on forever, even after them, and that his death was not in vain. As for Judy herself, she once said, "Matt is not a saint, just a kid finding himself." This resonated with me personally, and I know probably with others too, that we're just trying to know who we are. And it saddens to me that Matt did not get to finish seeing who he was to become. His parents have the Matthew Shepard Foundation to continue to fight against hate crimes against the LGBTQ plus community. Yeah, it was very sad when I was reading this story, and I'm kind of mad at myself for not knowing about this sooner, because it is such a big thing. So I was like...
Nobody talks about it anymore today, though.
Yeah, but
no one of our community, necessarily, that's born in our generation. However, this was in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But, yes.
I will say that a lot of drag queens and other, like, gay... I call them gay icons. Mm-hmm. But if anyone wants to check out, it's Matthew Shepard's .org.
One thing that I remember from this... story is I did read up on it when Mario suggested it to me. I did a good quick glance, and I remember one of the police officers, I believe, saying when they went to go to the area after he called them to retrieve Matthew, they actually thought Matthew was like a 12-year-old boy or something, because he looked so, I guess, small and petite and youthful that they thought it was a boy, like a young boy, when they first found him. And I was like, I was just thinking to myself in my head, and I was like, how many guys ganged up on him?
2.
And I was like, y'all just had...
And they were kind of, they were skinny, but not like...
But still,
like, skinny like him.
On, y'all already got what y'all wanted from him. Y'all just, like, decided to pistol whip someone?
Over 21 times.
And then also, you already took away his shoes and stole his stuff and got his address, so he wouldn't even feel safe if he made it home. Y'all tied him up to a fence and left him there? Like, ugh.
For 18 hours.
Don't even get me started on the females. I call them females because they're barely women.
So sources real quick. ABC News, MathShepard.org. I don't remember using this one, so I'm not going to say that one. And then a YouTube channel called The Casual Criminal.
Thank you so much for Christina for covering.
Well, thank you for educating me.
And thank you, Mario, for letting us know. Sorry we could not do it in the month of June. Mm-hmm. But like we said, every month, every day, every year is
24/7, 365
is a month for Pride.
Yes.
Whether you're gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual, transsexual, asexual, demisexual, pansexual, demisexual, and whatever else there may be. We do not include pedos, motherfuckers. I don't care who the fuck you think you are. That is not under our fucking pride. No. Thank you so much, Christina, for that story. So, I think it's time to get it over with. I'm going to finally talk about one of America's most famous ghost stories in its history.
Okay.
I will be covering today for you the Bell Witch.
Okay.
Have you heard of this story by chance?
Yeah. Ish.
From like tales, stories, movies?
Movies.
Oh, okay. Documentaries, maybe?
Yeah.
Like PBS or something. Or ghost hunting videos where people go visit.
Videos.
The Bell Witch Cave?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know, like, the complete lore about it, because I was more just focusing on seeing if I see something. Instead of listening.
Where's that shadow? Where's this? Where's it? Give it to me. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to cite my source early. I got my stuff from a beautiful YouTuber named Bell768 on YouTube. He's actually really cute, and I usually try going for sources on the internet versus YouTube, but all of the sources on YouTube had to do just like the literal fucking bare minimum of cliff notes for it. It's like, this happened here, and now it's not here, so people go to the Bell Witch Cave. That was literally what's on the Bell Witch site. And I'm like, don't you want to give more? No, they don't. I would have bought the book. I will tell you guys, I was this close to buying the book to get my info. But why would I buy a book if I'm not going to read into it more? Like, I'm like obsessed with this. I just need the info for now for you guys. So I went to this YouTuber, Belial768. Belial768, if you need anything from me, anything.
Oh gosh.
I will make you cinnamon rolls.
They're delicious.
That's a new thing I've been getting into. Cinnamon rolls. Okay.
I had them last night.
Made from scratch, not the can. Can't relate. I use the floss because I'm Bergy. Okay. Okay, let me get started. I'm sorry, guys. Well, this happened over 200 years ago. So bear with me. This is a lot. LOL. I even put L.
LOL. Yeah, you've done like 6 pages.
This all started in the year of 1804 in Red River, Tennessee. Today, it is in the county of Adams. Adams County. Well, in Red River, Tennessee, a family moved in. The Bell family. This is the main star of the show. Dun, 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 dun. Well, their family consisted of John and Lucy Bell. They had 6 children. Jesse, John Jr., Drury, not jewelry, Drury, D-R-E-W-R-Y, Drury, Benjamin, Esther, Zadok, Elizabeth, or Betsy, Richard, and Joel.
That's a lot of damn kids.
I just mentioned 8 kids. However, I said 6. The only reason I say 6 kids is because, unfortunately, 2 of the kids actually passed away. Let's get started. John Bell was actually one of the wealthiest farmers in Tennessee, or at least that area, should I say. I mean, shit, to move a whole family of that many and have a farm? Granted, with slaves?
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, the farm was a cotton-producing mainly farm. After moving the farm to this area, the farm was actually successful for about 13 years. No problems. Nothing was happening. Cotton was being produced. Product was being sent out. Money was getting made. Hooray! Well, then, 1817, around the summertime, John Bell was out inspecting his cornfield. He saw a peculiar-looking animal sitting between one of the corn row fields. So, like, corn rows, the field, and one of the rows. He saw this thing sitting in between the field. He looked at it, and he was like, huh? So he looked closer. Upon closer observation, he could not actually tell what kind of animal it was. The random appearance, and I'm assuming looks, of this animal actually began to frighten John. John had enough of him and decided to fire a shot from his shotgun, which in return caused the animal to run off. John said that this animal actually had a sort of mushed in snout face, but a bigger body. So, like, I don't even think pugs were being born at this time.
It's like a pug deer.
It was weird. Like this, I don't know. It's just he could not tell what it was. That's all I know. Well, he searched the area for this animal after he shot at it, near it, and it ran off, but the animal left no tracks. It left in no trace of like a path that it ran through or anything of the sort, and he could not tell that the animal had even been there. Not long after this event took place, Betsy and Drury saw strange animals on the farm. However, Drury specifically saw a strange-looking bird perched on their fence. He was like, "That's a strange-looking fucking bird." But then again, they're not from this area, so it might be different wildlife. That's what I surmise it to. He just didn't recognize the avian of this area. Could have been like a vulture or something, or like a different type.
Yeah, I was say, sometimes I find vultures weird looking.
Yeah. Could have been easily that, but these are his kids. They're not like grown, but who knows. But then again, they had already been there for 13 years. So you'd think they would have ran into it.
Already.
Something up by chance, but who knows. Well, he said there was a weird bird perched up on this fence. Well, around this time of these sightings by Betsy, Drury, and John, Betsy said she actually saw a woman strolling around their orchard that they had. And she tried calling out to this woman. The woman didn't respond. The lady just disappeared. Like, she kept walking. She's like, ma'am, what you doing on my land?
I know.
Girl, you don't live here. And she just disappeared. I don't know if they meant like she disappeared or she just kept walking and she didn't see her no more. They just said she disappeared. An evening came around this time of these strange sightings of animals and this woman. The family started hearing strange noises in the night in the house.
Ooh, in the house.
Inside the house now. Like, just this night, shit was happening. They said that they would hear knocking and tapping on the windows and doors. Aside from that, they would also hear what sounded like wings flapping against the ceiling. John, the dad, began rushing outside to try and catch whomever was playing the prank on the family. However, he would find no one outside their home, but they would still hear this. There were occasions where the whole house was reported to actually shake, the entire house. Just like earthquakes, maybe? John would actually surmise that the shakes as simply being an earthquake. He was like, it has to be an earthquake. Has to be. However, to report to the family, no one else actually in town would mention or bring up the shaking of their own house or of any sort of something like that. Like no Jurassic Park T-Rex shaking their water, at least. Nothing like that. They were just like, no, we're chilling. We went to sleep. Well, over several nights, this actually occurred. And eventually, this turned from being annoying to actually being kind of frightening. Because it's like, okay, this is a little too consistent. Yeah. This can't just be an earthquake. This can't just be a simple prank. What's going on? Excuse me. This can't just be happening. What the fuck? Well, John's 4 boys slept in one room, and they started hearing what they said a gnawing on their bed. Posts. And they would hear skittering on the floor, kind of like rats. But whenever they would wake up to investigate the noises, they would stop. And their bedpost would be fine. Like, they didn't see any scuff marks or anything like that. I wonder if they could feel the vibrations too. Like something going or something like that. Or, well, each time that they would wake up to investigate, like, what's that damn noise? Or like, I'm gonna catch it. Nothing was there. These events not only occurred in the boys' room, though, they would also happen in Betsy's room, or Elizabeth. The children reported that they would have their blankets actually pulled off from them at night. Worst of all, the noises that the kids actually heard, which I think, and also which is the most horrific sound, was said to sound like someone was gulping and choking in the room. Like someone was being strangled. So like imagine you're asleep, dead silence, and all you hear is just in the corner in the back. And it's like, I'm gonna go sleep in Mom and Dad's room. You know what? I'm gonna go sleep in a tree.
You know what? I'm gonna go in the car.
In the carriage.
Whatever they had back then.
So yeah, imagine hearing that shit at night. Well, these noises would keep the family awake every night until around about 1 to 3 a.m. in the morning. That's when they got a respite. But then it started again.
3 or 4 in the morning, that's like the witching hour.
No, 1 to 3.
Oh.
Well, eventually, furniture around the house started shaking and moving about.
Just the furniture? Not the house. That's no.
The noises and the movements of the furniture led to more aggressive happenings. These more aggressive events began focusing on Betsy. Betsy began getting her hair pulled and her face slapped. And also her body would get scratched. And also she said she would feel like she was actually being poked with a sewing needle.
Oh, random.
Yeah. All by some unseen force. The enslaved workers were being tormented as well.
Aww.
They reported being tricked by an unseen force. They even had doors shutting on them and locking them out without a cause or reason. Like they're going to go to the barn to get something and the gate latch is closed and they can't get out. And they look through the crevice of the barns because, they're not built with caulking and shit like that. No one's out there. They go into, a back room to get water for the family. They're locked out and the family's yelling at them. But no one's there. Like crazy. Things like that. So, soon John had enough of the events and keeping all of the events under wraps and secret to the farm. So he was like, don't let anyone know, we'll figure it out. They couldn't find any reason. They're like, it's not. But I guess he started getting fed up because even the slaves were being affected. And he's like, so it's not just a white problem.
And not my workforce.
So he reached out to a neighbor, Mr. James Johnson. This neighbor and his wife came and stayed over at the Bell house to investigate. Mr. Johnson and the family prayed and sang hymns throughout the night. However, on that night, when they went to sleep, the activity started up again, but this time it was more aggressive than ever. In a sort of show-off or a mocking manner to the Johnsons, all the previous occurrences were happening all together, all at once. Could you imagine you're just like getting ready for sleep and all of a sudden everything in your room starts shaking, gnawing on the floor, tapping, someone choking, Betsy getting slapped.
So I would have slept at my neighbor's house instead.
Y'all have fun. We'll be at your place.
I would have been like, no, I'm not going to come spend the night at your house because what if I take it over to my house? No, thank you.
Well, it was in a regard flexing its power. Whenever one of the family or even the Johnsons would get up to find the source of the events would cease. They would cease to move, make noise or anything, so it would just stop. And Betsy, however, was relentlessly physically abused, so she was still getting slapped randomly. Poor thing, just slapped, punched, scratched, pricked. Ugh. Well, one statement said that actually a loud laughter was heard throughout the house whilst all the furniture movement and other activity was happening. So or something of the sort. Mr. Johnson tried communicating with this entity, if you will, asking questions such as, who are you? What are you? What do you want? Upon talking to the entity directly, the entity would actually cease its activity for a bit before starting up again, with the noises and movements of furniture. In doing so, this led Mr. Johnson and the Bell family to believe that it is indeed an being of intelligence. that was causing these events. It basically understood when it was being talked to directly. So Mr. Johnson advised Mr. Bell, actually after this whole ordeal, to invite others into the investigation of these occurrences. And in desperation, Mr. Bell was like, sure.
Yeah, sure. Whatever helps get it to stop.
Maybe someone has an answer. Well, soon the popularity and word spread throughout the town. And a surprising turn of events, the news and talk about the haunted Bell family didn't cause ridicule. Instead, the town came to their aid in full support. So instead of people being like, you're full of shit, they're just like, damn, for real? Well, shit, let's go. Let's go see. Committees were formed, experiments were being done, and a constant watch was on the house, all in an attempt to understand why all of the strange occurrences were happening to the Bell family. However, all of this came to no avail. No answers or halting of the occurrences. Instead, the events and occurrences actually ramped up. It seemed as if this entity that they started to refer to as a witch was liking the attention that it was receiving. During this time, they would ask the witch common questions like, how many people are in this room? How many horses are out in the barn? In response, the witch, in fact, would respond mockingly, but honestly, scratching and knocking to the correct number of times on the wall. Like 12 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but not that fast. Another strange occurrence that would happen frequently during this time was reported by the slaves and the family. Whenever returning from working on the farm, they said that they would see floating, flickering lights like candles in the tree line and out throughout across the farm.
Like fireflies?
That's what I was surmising. I'm like, so fireflies? Maybe they'd never seen them before and it was like in season for fireflies to come out.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I thought. I was like, okay. However, aside from seeing this, whenever walking home, stones and chunks of wood would fall near and around them as if something or someone was throwing it at them, but they could never see where it came from. The family and their guest or event just passing on the farm, their family and their guest, or even just, not event, even just passing on the farm, they were tormented, the family and guest would be slapped, leaving finger marks, and they would also get their hair pulled and much more physical abuse.
Why are they still living here?
But to all the people investigating, to all the enslaved people and the family, Betsy got tormented the most. And she was only 12 years old when these events actually began. So she was just getting the brunt end of all this. In response, and for Betsy's protection, she would often actually be sent to stay with neighbors to stay the night. Like, girl, you need to go get you some rest somewhere else. We'll be fine. You go sleep. She would stay amongst 4 different families. However, despite these efforts, the activity seemed to follow Betsy regardless.
Did it affect the other households?
I'm not too sure. I think it was just her. Just still getting abused. Yeah, it seemed to follow her, regardless of being on the Bell farm, on a neighbor's, or not. It just seemed to follow her. Members of the community would continue attempting to communicate with the witch, and then over time, the witch started talking back. She's like, what's poppin'?
Did you see what I did to Betsy?
Y'all could never get on my level. It started by making these actual low whistling noises, almost like it was trying to speak but was having trouble. So kind of, I guess like a wind whistle, like a... Well, eventually the whistles actually turned to faint, faltering whispers, where distinct words could actually be understood. Soon enough, the Bell Witch began speaking and communicating in a clear and well-articulated voice. Clear and loud, enough for everyone in the room could hear the voice. With this revelation, the townspeople started to flock to the Bell farm in larger numbers in the hopes of hearing the voice of the Bell Witch. Good girl, there's this thing happening, let's go. I got my tequila, do you have your vodka? Let's go.
Let's go get lit as a tit and watch this.
Girl, dinner and a show, we might get laid. You know those depraved men. Okay, well, eventually around this time frame, the witch started making claims, foretelling things to come, or forewarnings, basically telling prophecies. Don't know how that came about, but it did. The witch also made a claim while being asked during a multitude of questions she was being berated with, or they were, that she was a disturbed spirit of a person buried in the woods nearby. She said her grave was disturbed and her bones had been scattered, and that she was at the house in search of her missing tooth. Apparently, 3 to 4 years earlier, the farm hands had discovered a small mound of burial grounds whilst clearing land. John Bell had determined that this might have been, or was more than likely, Native American burials, and decided to work around them to not disturb these burials. However, a few days later, a young man named Corbin Hall that lived around was at the farm at the time, I guess hanging out with the children or something of the sort. He was there. And he was actually told of these graves, or this mound of burials, by Mr. Bell's son, Drury, and Corbin had suggested that oftentimes the natives would bury their dead with relics and trinkets. However, he convinced Drew to help him dig them up, but upon finding these bones, they did not find any relics. However, Corbin took a jawbone. Corbin brought it into the house. When inside, after a few moments of looking at it and gawking at it, he decided to chunk it against the wall. When he chunked it against the wall, the jawbone actually released one of the tooths, and it fell through one of the floorboards. John Bell had remembered this event that had happened, and those 3 to 4 years ago, and decided to look for this tooth. So he tore up all of the floorboards in hopes of finding this witch's tooth, but was unable to find it. Afterwards, the spirit began laughing. It laughed at John, and whenever someone would interact with this witch, it laughed at John and claimed the entire situation to be a joke.
Like there wasn't a tooth?
Yep. Trickery in this regard became a common thing whenever someone would interact with this witch. In another claim, the witch said she was the spirit of an immigrant that had buried a large sum of money in the area before her death. She described the location of this treasure in exact detail, in the condition that, upon its finding, that all the money would go solely to Betsy Bell. Drew Bell, Bennett Porter, and Mr. Johnson labored away for half a day to move, in this area that was described from this witch, a very large rock and dig in the area, only to find nothing.
Little trickster.
That night, the witch laughed at them, revealing the entire story of the treasure was all a lie. Being proud of itself, the witch would tell every person visiting the house the whole story of the events of its trickery of the 3 men and the family for over the next month. Just a gloating bitch. Let me tell you something. These 3 dumbasses.
Guess what I made them do? Oh gosh.
I told them that there was some treasure. The treasure was my laugh. Oh, yeah, well. One of the few strange things that the witch would do would be to actually mimic sermons. Sing the Bible, or sing Bible hymns, and cite Bible verses, and showcase a very thorough knowledge of the Bible and Christian faith. The first occurrence of this was noted when the witch would repeat the prayer of Mr. Johnson. Would repeat the prayer Mr. Johnson had spoken on his first night at the house. And it would repeat it many times, over time, whenever. Christian faith was brought up or Christian theology or something of the sort, the witch would repeat that specific prayer. However, what was even more creepy was the witch was able to mimic Mr. Johnson's voice.
Oh, no.
It would mimic it so accurately, the family or people would say it sounded as if Mr. Johnson was actually in the room. Only he wasn't. These events of the entity repeating sermons and singing hymns and its Christian knowledge would go as far as even correcting people in the house if they misquoted a verse during worship. So it was literally mocking people, like, you actually said that wrong.
So it's actually this, you suck.
Well, an interesting and common thing people would do is open a Bible to any page and ask the witch to repeat a specific verse, which the witch would do with speed and no falter.
Creepy.
She's just got a Kindle. Where is
it? Right? She's in the walls, really, with a Kindle.
Another interesting occurrence of a religious tone was when the witch repeated a sermon of a pastor named James Gunn, not the director. She would repeat his sermon, following afterwards said another sermon that was being told by a Reverend Shug Fort. The interesting part, however, was these sermons were being told at the same time, about 13 miles apart from each other.
And the witch could.
Or she was in that moment. When that guy was saying it, that guy was saying his sermon, he was saying a different sermon. She was said this guy's sermon, then she said this guy's sermon. And when people were like, wait, they're 13 miles apart, how did it do that? However, this was confirmed later by people that gathered at the Bell Farm, as the people were doing at this time, which ultimately suggested that the witch had the means of being at two places at once and was able to travel to parts of town without struggle, and it had a stranglehold across the entire surrounding area.
Mm-mm.
So this witch's reach was far and grand, and could be two places at once.
She just loved to fuck with this one family.
She had 2 burner phones. She was just messaging her friends, what's the sermon they're doing today? Becky was like, sermon number... Well, the abilities of the entity was proved more so when the witch would give nightly reports of the happenings throughout the town of people, and basically tattletelling on people's misdeeds and report anything of note when it would report. So you know Mr. Levi down the road, he actually likes to chew on his toenails.
And he slept with Margaret down the street.
Oh, and there also might be a sale tomorrow at Barnes & Noble's. So yeah, eventually the townsfolk began to actually fear having their privacy invaded and their secrets revealed by the witch. They were like, is she going to tell me that I actually like to suck on Margaret's asshole while after she hasn't wiped?
Or she pegs me.
She pulls out the wooden penis and I'll actually kind of like it.
I haven't been inside her since.
But she loves taking control. Oh, Margaret! Well, an interesting event was when Lucy Bell began to worry when she had not had a visit or heard anything from her son Jesse. Not since he had left for a trip for some time. Well, the witch responded, wait a few minutes and I'll go check in. And then it returned and informed Lucy that Jesse was at his home simply reading a book by candlelight. Eventually, this was confirmed by Jesse a few days later, stating that he was actually at home doing just that. He said that when he was doing that, though, someone knocked on his front door, but before he could get up to answer the door flung open, and then it closed itself. His wife asked what had just happened, and his response was, must have been the witch. People began conversing more conversationally about events throughout the town with the witch. However, the witch wasn't just able to report on this town. It was also able to report the happenings and current news of the old town in which the Bell family originally came from in North Carolina.
Just that, though?
Oh, we'll get to it. Where's my spot? An interesting and baffling recount was when an Englishman had came to visit the farm. And during his time there, the witch would keep him informed on what was happening at his home in England across the ocean, or the sea, or the pond. The water.
Okay, so those people have to be in her area. Like, with links.
I think so.
And that's how she travels.
This information was confirmed true when he would receive letters from his home. The witch asked, eventually, what he wanted to tell his family. He asked, and what he would like to tell his family, that it would convey any message he wished to tell them, and he asked the witch to tell his family this. Never since the world was created have men seen and heard the marvelous things I have witnessed during the past 3 months. 3 hours later, the voice returned, mimicking 2 voices of people. These voices were expressing astonishment at what was being told to them. One of the voices said, "Why, that is our brother's voice. Where are you, brother?" The Englishman exclaimed to John and John Jr. that the 2 voices were that of his mother and brother and sounded exactly like them. The spirit then repeated a message from his mother saying, "Tell him not to stay any longer. He has heard and seen enough, and that they do not want any more visits like that here," or however English people sounded. "We don't want any more visits here." Or okay, we don't want that here anymore, basically. Like, good, but come home. This is enough. Well, the Englishman returned home to England, and he eventually wrote to John Jr. that all that they had heard that night had actually been confirmed as true by his family, who were visited by the spirit. Aside from this display of playful nature of pranking the family and gossiping about the townspeople, or simply helping an Englishman Skype to their family,
honestly,
this entity made it clear it did not like John Bell or Betsy Bell. She said, "Fuck those 2.
Why though? That's so odd.
Thank you. This is the whole one question. I'm like, okay, but and? Why? She smells funny and he has a funky walk. Aside from being physically tormented by the entity, her love life was being targeted by the witch, Betsy. Mm-hmm. There was a young man named Joshua Gardner with whom Betsy had a bit of a thing for. She was like, Joshua Gardner, you can garden my garden.
You can hoe me down.
You can plow my field. Well, the witch actually would warn Betsy against seeing him. She would warn against her relationship, and she would tell him to cut it off and not marry Joshua, because she was planning to marry him. She was like, no, you're not going to do that. And she would actually say, "Do not marry Joshua," in a very strange and unearthly voice. "Do not marry Joshua."
Definitely the second one.
"Do not marry Joshua."
No, I take it back. Definitely the third one.
However, whenever Joshua was around at the time, the spirit would actually say embarrassing and private things in front of Joshua and their friends about Betsy. However, all this didn't deter Josh and would tell Betsy that they shouldn't allow the spirit to dictate their relationship. However, Betsy feared what would happen to them if they continued considering their relationship. She felt it meant great danger for them both if they continued with them getting married, and she ultimately asked him to release her from her promise to marry him for the safety of them both. Which he ultimately did with great disappointment, and eventually he moved away to another state. Interestingly enough, the witch never actually revealed why she wanted Betsy to end this relationship and not marry Joshua. After this, though, Betsy became prone to fainting spells, experiencing smothering sensations, shortness of breath, and rendered completely lifeless at times. And exhausted. Even though she seemed to have been the epitome of perfect health. Like, she was perfectly healthy outside of those spells. Though it was never mentioned from the witch, like she never took credit for it, or people would ask and she would never say anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
She never gloated about it. People surmised that the witch was the cause of Betsy's illness, since there was no other obvious reasons. I mean, she could have literally just been not eating and just in a depressive state.
That one of these days the witch is going to make her choke on her food or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, eventually these fainting spells and exhaustions dissipated, and it seemed Betsy was released. However, John was not so lucky. He would complain about his tongue being numb and his jaw getting stiff. Over time, it progressed to his tongue swelling and sticking against his jaw, preventing him from eating and speaking for hours at a time. The witch went off on a
tormenting spree.
Yeah, and actually mocked and said vile things to him. She was like berating him, like, you have locked on, or some shit like that. She would actually torment him like this. Yet again, she would never say as to why she was tormenting him or why she was mocking him. Eventually, John started experiencing face twitching, and also his face would contort, and they would call it a sort of dancing of the flesh. That would leave John bedridden for periods at a time. You may be wondering, why did the family deal with this torment for so long? And why would they stay in such a haunted house with such intense paranormal activity that causes these kids to lose sleep, Betsy getting mentally and physically abused, and John getting physically and mentally abused? They did, however, consider moving, but the witch actually proclaimed no matter where John would move, she would follow him to the ends of the earth. Well, who was the Bell Witch? Do people surmise? Do they know? The spirit would never answer clearly. When Mr. Johnson would ask the witch, the neighbor, he would ask, "Who are you?" The witch would respond, "I am a spirit from everywhere. Heaven, hell, the earth. I am in the air, in the houses, in any place at any time that have been created millions of years. That is all I will tell you, Mr. Johnson."
No, thank you.
This proclamation would make the witch seem more than just an entity or spirit, but almost of a higher power, kind of like a god. However, upon a visit, Reverend Gunn asked the witch whom she was, and the way he actually asked her, or the way he worded it in a way, the answer could no longer be evaded with such fantastical sayings or trickery. Like, she couldn't make up a lie. It's like I said, in the way he quoted it, she couldn't make some bullshit up. The spirit had claimed it was nobody and nothing but old Kate Batts' witch. Old Kate Batts' witch, sorry, had to pause. And that she was determined to torment John till his death. People around seemed to believe this more than the other possibility of lies that it would tell, but this seemed to latch on more to the public. Kate Batts was a strange woman already shunned by the townfolk before the spirit's accusations or even before this Bell family ordeal. She was already shunned by the community. She was the weird one. She was labeled as being eccentric and sensitive. Her husband actually had become disabled and feeble, requiring her to become the head of the household and taking care of the husband's affairs. All of her children had died young, and in that time, I'm sure that made her look suspicious of witch accusations before the Bell haunting ordeal. Funny thing though, reports outside of them saying her young children her young children died or died young, there were reports also saying that they were young adults. So it's kind of conflicting, and it's like, were they children? Were they her children that were young adults?
Were they 10 or were they 20?
Yeah. The supernatural ideals came by from Miss Batts begging other women around town for their brass pins. people were like, why is she asking for brass pins from everyone? That's weird. Well, they had a theory that whenever they would give her a pin, it would give Kate power over them. And if we remember correctly, Betsy would say she felt like she was being poked with a pin or needle.
Yep.
And it was also reported around the time of all these occurrences, for another thing, that there were actually brass needles being found sticking out of the pillows and armchairs on the Bell farm.
Well, why was it only affecting
Betsy? Did Betsy give her a brass pin? They never tell me. I didn't hear. I'm like, that would make sense then, in a, I guess, metaphysical regard. But they never say. Well, so people alluded that Kate was connected to the witch. Kate was also very vocal about not liking John, and actually would talk shit because when the Bells first moved in, she had a dispute with John about a transaction between the two. I'm assuming over a slave that he sold her or something of the sort. I don't know. And ended by saying she would actually get even with John when she left.
This is beyond even. I'm sorry.
Well, when Kate heard of these accusations, she was actually very upset and denied ever being involved. The town people recalled that she was an odd woman, but also funny and was also loved by town's children. I mean, a woman who lost her kids. She's gonna...
Whatever age.
Whichever you feel. But not everyone actually disliked her, including John. He did not believe she was actually responsible for these occurrences. Very progressive. However, the spirit stuck to this ideal and even began calling itself Kate. Some weird thing that happened in town involving Kate was when a girl was churning butter before school and thought it was taking way too long for this cream to become butter. So she thought old Kate Bats had enchanted it to make her late to school. So the girl took an hot fire iron, like an iron poker, and shoved it down into the butter churn, thinking it would burn whoever enchanted it. Thinking it was Kate. She made an excuse to check on Kate that day and saw Kate was nursing a bandaged hand that she had burnt herself that morning, that she said. She's like, oh, I burnt myself this morning. So we're leading with Kate Bats is the owner of this spirit or something of the sort. And another event they pushed out was when Kate died after this whole ordeal, like the witch, the spirit, and all this ordeal finished. Kate died, and at the time people were supposed to do like a mourning ceremony where like the coffin's in her house and family members eat fruit and they sit with the body over the night before they bury it, kind of like a wake, but like sitting with it all night, and nobody would come by because she had no family. And one girl volunteered, and her friends came and stayed the night. They were like, we'll sit with Mrs. Kate Batts' body. But upon reaching the house, there were slews of black dogs with curly hair, nipping at them and around. And when they got in the yard or got to the house, inside the house, there were tons of black cats inside the house, and that they were trying to shoo them away and whatnot. But townspeople actually believe that they were exaggerating and just making up a tale, or that they were just making up lies about Kate Batts still.
Yeah, just become
casting aspersions. Mm-hmm. But that was all that was like supernaturally connected to Kate Batts. But with that, I will end my story for this episode and continue next week with part 2 of the Bell Witch Haunting.
Ooh, part 2?
Where we get into more visitors, more investigations, trauma that followed John Bell some more. I believe the witch took a sabbatical and disappeared like we do and came back, and
like we do,
yeah, it's
months later.
There's a fuck ton of information that nobody's giving online anymore, that only this beautiful being that I watched on YouTube, Belial768, he read a lot of books, he compiled all of this information together, and he put it on his YouTube page, and I'm sure there are more than enough of these words where I basically plagiarized his words, but he did it so cleanly, and I thank you so much, Belial768. I cannot thank you enough. I would not have gotten this much information from any sort of Google search unless I paid for it, and even then I don't think the people knew this much detail, because he's got a video on YouTube that's over 2 hours long plus of info that he read and compiled together. I'm like, this guy was dedicated.
Yeah, he was dedicated.
But yeah, that is my story of the Bell Witch, and we'll continue next time.
Oh, I'm excited.
How did I do?
So good. The writing was really good.
This was basically all him. I just like cleaned it up to how I would say it. So yeah, that's my story of the Bell Witch. Was any of that familiar to you by chance?
No, but when you were giving me the story, at first it was giving Amityville Horror.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking about that. And then it was kind of giving me a little bit of Sinister.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So I was just like, damn, they should make a movie. And then I was like, I think there is one.
Yeah, I think they did make a little frivolous. They went off of the storyline a little bit, but it was based off of a book. But it's called An American Haunting.
Yeah.
That movie. I wanted to see it when I saw the commercial for it back in 2004 or 6, whenever I saw the preview, where you see the carriage flip over dramatically. I was like, I want to see that. But I never got around to it because, you know.
I don't think I have either.
My family hates horror movies, so.
Yeah. I don't think I watched it either. Maybe we could do a watch along.
On that wall. Oh. I did not know any of that shit. I just knew the basics of they were being tormented, Betsy was getting beat the fuck up, and the tooth that was found. I hear people talk about a gold tooth, but when Belial was doing his story, he never mentioned specifically in his words a gold tooth. He just mentioned a tooth. But on his little, what is those timestamps on the little bar? It said gold tooth, but he never said tooth, the gold tooth. He just said tooth. So I don't know if it was the gold tooth that was in the fucking floorboards.
Well, that's another thing is if. That would make sense why he took the jawbone.
And tried slamming against the wall to get it out.
But I would have sold it.
Exactly, the whole bone
and
everything.
Bone. I'd just been like...
I found this on the side of the road. How much is that? Because they probably could have pried it out. But yeah. Don't fuck with Native American grounds if you do. Not that that was technically connected, because even the witch was like, I'm just kidding.
No. Witch is a little jokester.
I find it suspicious how rooted around Betsy it is. Because I wonder...
that was another thing I was getting was, I wonder if this stuff is actually happening to her, or if it's like those sisters.
The Fox sisters.
Yes.
You know what I was hearing? How they're the originators of, what is it, spirituality and whatnot of the time, the Fox sisters. Well, this happened in 1817. The Fox sisters, the oldest one that used them, was born in 1806, 04. So they were in the same
time frame,
50 decades, or first 50 decades of that century. So like they could have heard the story and got inspired by it and started doing the rapping noises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they didn't create... Well, technically they did. They began the whole we can communicate with spirits whilst the Bell family was getting tormented. So they probably took inspiration from hearing that from townsfolk and whatnot. Yeah, there's going to be some things that I've heard. Because I've also heard... and that's why we drink. The last podcast on the left. All these other people have covered these stories. But John Belial, or John, fucking John, he really wants me. I get it, I know. But Belial768, I'm just saying. A man who could commit that much to their research and chronological order, all this shit.
Committed.
He is a man that you want.
Committed.
Anyways.
He can get it.
Well, thank you so much about covering Matthew Shepard.
And thank you so much about covering the Blair Witch. Oh, no, not the Blair Witch.
Ooh, imagine the Bell Witch.
The Bell Witch.
I wonder... Oh, I actually think the Blair Witch was actually based off of The Blair Witch was based on, like, the certain aspects, I believe. I don't know. I think. But yeah. Anyways, well, thank you so much for your story, Christina.
Thank you. Thank you guys for
coming back.
And coming back and sticking with us.
We are trying our hardest to continue with the podcast. And we're gonna continue. We're gonna try our hardest. And thank you for listening. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And we hope to see you next week. We love you all so much. We hope you have a wonderful week. Please follow us on all of our socials. Facebook, TikTok, Insta. Follow Christina's personal page. I believe you have a personal page, right? Follow my personal page. And check out our YouTube if you're just listening. We look very cute. I'm just saying. Christina got a blowjob. She got her hair did. Guys, look at it. It's cute.
Did it myself.
At the salon.
At the salon of
Christina's restaurant. And I took a nap, so.
That's where the glow comes in.
Sleep grease. Get on it. Okay, well, thank you guys so much. Can't wait to see you next time. And love you. See you. Have a wonderful night.
Yeah.
Unpleasant dreams.
Not the choking.
Okay. Bye, guys. Love
you.
Bye. I'll say goodbye. Bye, guys. Love you.
Thank you for listening. Deeper Into the Dark is a complete indie podcast. Please rate, follow, and share so that we may continue making content.
Intro and outro music made by Aaron H. at Fiverr. Music used in the podcast by Epidemic Sound. Mixed and edited by yours truly.
Artwork by Christina Barnes.
Thank you guys. See you next time.